Hello everyone, I'm Paul and welcome to Gelin Outdoors. Today is part 2 of 2 for the 50-hour service maintenance on the Kubota tractor. What I'm going to start with is all the greasing points, so let's get started. Up here in the front of the tractor, we're going to do a little bit of greasing onto the battery poles, and I'm going to use a dielectric tune-up grease, as you can see here. And I'm just going to take a small film of it. You can take off your battery connectors or not, it's up to you what you want to do, but for me I'm just going to kind of coat on the top and a little bit around it. If it was corroded or if I noticed some corrosion, I would have actually had pulled that off. Now I'm going to lift the boot here on the positive terminal, and I'm going to do the same thing, put a little bit of grease. You don't want too much because you don't want it all over, it's just to coat it from erosion. And you can put a little bit in the boot if you want. Not going to hurt anything. So that's all I'm going to put there. The next place to grease is underneath the tractor. If you have the cab model, you're going to grease on the other side and you're going to be greasing the speed control pedal. On the open station tractor, like I have here, you're going to be greasing the brake pedal. So let's take a look on how to get that done. If you come over here closer, I'm down underneath. I've got my brake pedal here, the arms are running, and there's the grease zerk. I'm just going to put my lock and lube on there, hold it on. I'm going to give it a couple squirts. You can see the little bit of grease come out there, that's all it needs. Next thing they do is just wipe it up. Over here on the back of the tractor, there's 2 grease points. Let's take a look here. So the very first one is on my top link. You can see here, I'm just going to put the connector on, my lock and lube. You give it a few squirts. That's good. Just going to wipe up my little bit of a mess there. The next place you're going to do is on the lift arm, down here. It's going to connect on there. The nice thing about a lock and lube, you can see I'm not holding it with any hands here. I just take my grease gun and I'm pumping a little bit in. You don't need to put a ton in there. Now, if you are working a lot in wet conditions or muddy conditions, you're going to do the lubrication for the control or the lift arm and the top link a lot more often, because you want to keep that mud and stuff away from getting up inside. Okay guys, the next thing to do is to test the engine starting system. There are 3 tests to perform. The first thing you have to do is prepare the tractor to do the testing. So to do that, you must be sitting on the tractor. Second thing is to make sure that you've got your brake pedal locked down. Make sure that you've got your speed control pedal here in neutral. Your gear shift lever, move it into neutral. And that your PTO clutch is sitting or is off, in the off position. Now the next thing you do to perform the test is you press down the speed control lever or pedal and turn the key to start the engine, and you can see here engine does not start, so it passed test number 1. On to test number 2. Your brake pedal is still going to be locked down, your gear shift lever is still going to be in neutral, you're going to be sitting on the tractor on the seat, your speed control pedal is still going to be in neutral. Now the only difference here is that you're going to push down on the PTO lever to put it on. And then you're going to turn the key and the tractor should not start. And it does not start. For the third and final test of the engine starting system, you got to go through the same process. Your speed control pedal is going to be sitting here in neutral. Your parking brake is going to be on. Your gear shift lever is going to be in neutral. You're going to be sitting on the seat, and for this test basically what you're going to be doing, and your PTO clutch actually should be off, and for this test what you're going to do is start the tractor up. Now that the tractor started up, I'm going to put the PTO gear or the PTO clutch down, so I'm going to turn it on. Now the next thing to do is to stand up, and when I stand up, stay on the tractor, and the tractor should shut off within 1 second. I passed the test, or my tractor passed the test. The one thing to make sure that if any one of those tests fail is that you contact your Kubota dealer, because that's a huge safety issue and you want to get it fixed right away. All right, the last part of the 50-hour service maintenance on the tractor is to torque all the wheel bolts. Got a torque wrench. You can do it without a torque wrench, but then you're just going to be tightening it either too much or not quite enough. So definitely get yourself a torque wrench to do it, and try to do it with the shortest distance of a socket or bar or extension bar that you can possibly do, so that you can get it pretty much where you want it to be when you're setting the actual tension on the torque wrench. So on the front wheels here, it's 57 to 67 is what it's recommending. So what I did is I set my torque wrench at 62 right in the middle. It always gives you a range, I guess, because it's got a little bit of room to play around with. People use extension bars and longer sockets and so on. So you just put your wrench on there, as I am here, and you just go up. You can hear the click. I go across each one rather than going around in a circle. I'll do each one. You can see they're already tight. I've already done the other side on the tractor. Hopefully I've got my bolt pattern correct here. And that's basically it. So that's the front, 57 to 67. Check your owner's manual. It might be slightly different. And same thing when you torque the back. Check to make sure that you have the right amount of torque for the bolts or the nuts on there. So let's go to the rear. On the back of the tractor, as I mentioned, you may have to use an extension bar. I've got an extension bar here, and the whole thing to do here is to remember, try to start on the front, because the front wheels use less torque than on the back. That way now I just have to keep moving my torque wrench up rather than bringing it down and then going back up as far as where I'm setting it. So on the back here, one thing I wanted to show you is that there are bolts and there are nuts. Here you get a couple nuts, and then the other 4 are bolts. And when you have the nut and bolt, they have a different torque spec. So we're going to start off with the nuts because they're lower. So I'm going to set my range on for my bolts here are 123 to 141. So I'm just going to set it about 135 for my torque wrench. So set it up. It's quite a bit more. This is all foot-pounds, by the way. Never mentioned that earlier. So I'm setting it up for 135. I always try to go somewhere in between to get everything done. I've got to use an extension bar, and I'm using a short socket. I could use a long socket, but then it brings my bar out further. So I'm going to bring this here. This is going on to the nut. Again, we're just going to put that on. There we go. And it's going to torque it until it goes. So that's tight already. Going to do the other one. As you notice, I'm kind of pulling up on the bar. It's better if I'm on this side here. And I position myself so that I'm going down, because it's a lot harder on your body to pull up than it is to push down. So the next one is from 145 to 166. The rating or the spec for the torque. So I'm going to put it about 155. So I'm just adjusting them. So I'm always increasing this way. I'm always going upwards and stuff, so it's much better. Okay, I've got my torque wrench set. Very simple. I'm just going to go in a crisscross pattern again. Notice I'm pushing down, and I'm trying to stabilize this from not angling down or pushing up or across or anything like that. Try to get as accurate as you can. Again, the same thing. And the third one. And then the fourth one. So basically that's it. So that concludes the 50-hour maintenance. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please give it a thumbs up by hitting the like button down below. Also, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so by hitting the subscribe button down below. And once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Gelling Outdoors.